Master Phil Ross is here back on the show, and he has trained fighters, special forces, and everyday people who thought that their bodies were beyond repair, and he rebuilt them from the inside out. He is Master Phil Ross. He is the Kettlebell King. He combines combat sports, rehab science, and raw strength into one system that fixes what most programs miss. We're here on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Robert Plank. We're brought to you by dfypodcast.com. We handle editing, publishing, and promotion so you can focus on the interview. And today's interview is probably the most important topic imaginable. It's you, it's your health, it's your well-being, it's your life, and being physically active, physically fit, happier, and all that goes along with it, because it's all interconnected, isn't it? If you move, if you're active, then it improves your mood, and then you want to do more of that. So that's what we want. We don't want to just sit in front of the computer all day. We want to get out there and be active, live a long, healthy life for ourselves and others. So Mr. Phil Ross, it's been a few months. How the heck have you been?
Oh, great to be here again. And I guess I'm a repeat offender on the show. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, Robert. You know, you're doing great things out there, and I really appreciate the fact that you're trying to help other people, because that's what I do too. I'm trying to help others to live better longer, just like the shirt says. That's our logo for the Body Bell method. A lot of people suffer from back and shoulder pain. If you look at the statistics, 80% of people suffer from back pain, and then another 60% have shoulder issues. What are we doing about it? As you mentioned in the preamble, you have one body. You really do. You only have one body. You need to take care of it. Sometimes people say they don't have time. They don't make it a priority, whatever. But you know what though? When you do this, when you take care of your body, your mind follows, as well as your spirit, because we are, triumvirate there, right? Mind, body, and spirit. And, if you're not taking care of one thing, the other things fall off. But I'm here to really address what's going on in your body. Why are you in pain? I don't know if you've seen this on the internet, but there's people have been talking about a thing called the multifidus muscle. Okay? Now, the multifidus muscle is something that I've spoken to for years now, not just past month or two. And it's featured in our book, my most recent book, Managing Back Pain for Dummies. Okay? I wrote that with Dr. Pat Roth. He's a head of neurosurgeon at Hackensack Medical. Guy's brilliant. And I brought him in. He's also one of my clients. So I brought him in to write the book with me. But the multifidus muscle is one of the support muscles of the spine. And the thing that's bothering me right now is that there's a push online for this Stim. It's a Stim device. Now, to me, it's like a TENS unit on steroids. And the thing that bothers me is, look, I'm sure that it does give some measure of relief. I have not used it. I can't say that for a fact. But the thing that bothers me is that the doctor promoting this device says that it's the only thing out there that can strengthen the multifidus muscle. That is disingenuous at best. The human form has not changed much in the past 250,000 years. So this doctor is trying to tell us that we can't strengthen a muscle that we've had in for eternity in our bodies unless you have this device that just came out last month. Kind of having a hard time buying it. Plus, I've been strengthening the multifidus muscle on people for decades now. Now, if you can imagine your spine, you have a support network for your spine. You have the Erector Spinae. They go from the bottom of your skull down to the top of your hip. They're on the sides of the spine. There's 3 of them. These are the support, the intrinsic muscles, the ones that people don't see. And then the multifidus muscle, or multifidi, they connect 2 to 3 vertebrae, and they go all up and down the spine underneath that. Now, you also have a thing called the transverse abdominis, which is the lowest, the most inner section of your core. That's the muscle there, the lowest abdominal. I'm saying the deepest abdominal, not lowest, deepest. But if you're talking in terms of depth, it would be the lowest of your core. So these muscles are strengthened through the program that I have called, Get Off Your Back. and I've been doing this for decades. If you go onto my YouTube channel, you can see the testimonials. I've had people come in here that have been to doctors, surgery, before surgery, to avoid surgery, come to me. And I do have a lot of orthopedic surgeons and neurosurgeons that do refer people to me, their patients to me, prior to going under surgery or to avoid it. And even post-surgery as well when physical therapy is done. But the thing is that, we have to strengthen these muscles, and it's not as hard as you think. I have the program that we have. If you do it 5 to 10 minutes a day, guess what? You're going to strengthen those support muscles. And the cool thing about doing that too is that when you strengthen those muscles, you're not only creating the strength, but you're reinforcing mobility and flexibility. And these are all things we need to do to be able to move freely. And people do get confused between the difference between flexibility and mobility. Flexibility is the stretchiness of a muscle. Mobility is the ability for a joint to go through the full range of motion. So that's your mobility. So they go hand in hand, but you need both. And we address those. And when I was talking about the deep muscles, the support muscles, that is something I refer to as the hidden core. Okay? Again, and when we think of core, we think of abs. Oh, I got a 6-pack, right? Okay, yeah, okay, great, it's awesome. But that's mostly your diet. But the core is that whole trunk area, or what I refer to as the cylinder of power. So you have to have this nice cylinder of power, especially if you're going to be going up with anything, or if you want to lift something up or carry something, you have to have that strong cylinder of power. And that's something we address with the program. And you don't need a stimulation device. You don't need a pill. You don't need surgery. And look, do you sometimes need those types of treatments? Absolutely. But the thing is, you want to look at a holistic approach to your back and shoulder health. Try strengthening mobility first. Then maybe go to these other treatments. And then as a last course of action, you would get your surgery. But there's far too many people that have had surgery and 6 months later, they're in pain again. Or they go through therapy and they're in pain again. Or they go to a chiropractor and they're in pain again. Yeah, they get the relief temporarily, but what have they done? Have they taken the measures to strengthen the area to keep things in place? Have that proper alignment? I don't think so. So this is what we help you with.
Very nice. It makes logical sense to me that we should take our fitness seriously. And when there are these other paths, right, there's other shortcuts. It's like, well, wouldn't it make sense to do the exercise first or in addition and not just count on that one avenue to solve the problem? And so I'm curious about just the types of people you help and maybe where they sometimes get stuck. So are like the people that you help, I'm sure there's all kinds, but like as far as the mix, the ratio, are there like, is it mostly like fitness enthusiasts, they want to get jacked, or they just want to, be mobile in their later years? Like, what would you say is the mix of the people that you help?
Wow, it's pretty crazy because I've tried to identify my avatar, so I know who to cater my marketing toward. But the funny thing is that it keeps moving. I have high school people that I train, athletes, and then I have people in their 70s that want to be able to move. I have one guy, he's 75 years old. And do you know what a Turkish getup is?
No.
Okay. Well, if you have a chance, check out Turkish getup. Now, he's 75 years old. What you basically do on a Turkish getup is you lay on the floor. I generally use a kettlebell. You can use, dumbbell, but kettlebell's a little better. So I use a kettlebell, roll to the side, press it, keep it here, stand up, holding the kettlebell above your head, and then come back down, holding that kettlebell. He's 75 years old, and he does it with a weighted Turkish getup. Most 75-year-olds need help getting up out of a chair. This guy is doing a weighted Turkish getup. Now, he didn't do these. I mean, he started training with me a little less than 2 years ago. And, he started doing those. It took him about 8 or 9 months to get to be able to do a Turkish getup. So, it's amazing. He loves it. He just thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Tells his kids and grandkids and so forth. I'm 75 doing a Turkish get up, and then, I also have, let's take my high school wrestlers for example. I'm a coach at Bergen Catholic, and it's my second year as a strength and conditioning coach, which I coach both. But my main focus is the strength and conditioning. That's my baby with them. And it's funny because wrestling is very, very difficult, particularly on the shoulders. And you can see many of these other schools, the wrestlers, the athletes have these shoulder harnesses on. And we noticed that at the district championship. So in high school wrestling, particularly in the state of New Jersey, you have district, region, and then state. Okay. So our district is the local area. So you have 12 teams there, anywhere from 10 to 12 teams. We go to the district tournament, and virtually every other team had 2 to 3 athletes with a shoulder harness on. And this is something that I've known about the wrestling and combat sports industry for a long time, that the shoulders get beat up, and they train them properly. Most people do not train their shoulders properly. So how many guys do you think had shoulder harnesses on our team?
I don't know. All of them?
Not one. Not one
Okay.
on my team needed a shoulder harness because of the training methodology that we employ. And that has to do with engaging the rhomboids, packing the shoulders, engaging the lats, creating that very secure environment, not extending beyond the range of strength. So a lot goes into that. And, the proof is in the pudding. And, you go up to the region, which is the next level, in the state championship. These guys have shoulder harnesses, shoulders taped up and everything, and none of our guys were. And we have a very rigorous schedule. We're one of the top teams in the country, not just the state. We're in the top 25 in the United States, and that's over 20,000 high schools. So we're a pretty elite group, and we're out there with the best of the best in the top tournaments all the time, and very, very rough, rigorous competition. But yet our guys didn't sustain any shoulder injuries. There's a reason for that. We've been doing this training protocol. It's one of the reasons that I was called in as one of the instructors on a team to train our special forces as well, because of all the shoulder injuries. 60% of Navy SEALs had shoulder injuries. So the group was called in to help them out. So so there's quite a wide array of people, right? If we just touch on that. So it's kind of hard to find, what is my exact avatar? Movement is movement, strength is strength, and mobility is mobility. So everyone can use it. And proper alignment when you're training is one of the best ways to achieve that.
Very cool. This is fascinating, right? There's a science to it in having the proper form, and there's also the mental game to it, isn't there? There's like the mindset, the enthusiasm, the camaraderie, community, and I'm always looking to tap into that. And something that still sticks with me since the last time we spoke is you said, I have 2 kettlebells in my office here, and I have a little one over by the door and a bigger one behind me, and it's like you said, whenever you just, what's up?
That's all you need.
Yeah, and that's what you said. You were like, well, if you just have a few minutes in between meetings, just like swing that thing a little bit, and it adds up over time. Yep. And just having it nearby and handy, it'll make you feel better throughout the day, and it's more than you normally would. And so, like I said, yeah, there you go, exercise snacks. And so, have you noticed like how people make it work? Because it seems like there's like the haves and the have-nots, right? There's people that make excuses and the habits don't stick versus those that seem to have fun. So how do we tap into some of this energy of having fun and making it part of our lifestyle?
Yeah. Well, one thing we say about the excuses, I have a saying, everyone has excuses are like armpits. Everyone has them and they all stink. So, sure. Excuses are easy. Give yourself a reason. What is your reason? What's your driver? Why do you want to do this? And then what you do is don't deny yourself. The thing is, the mind controls everything. Think about that. If you walk in the door and you got your kettlebells on the floor and there's a bag of chips and a remote over there, well, you can either go swing a kettlebell or do some presses or squats, or you can grab the remote and the chips and sit down and watch Netflix. It's what your mind tells you to do. The mind is going to control you. So the mind, the body will only do what the mind tells it. So how are you going to do this? How are you going to make it fun? You know what you do? Make it a game. Look at it in this way. Every time you go to swing that kettlebell or do your push-ups, try to do it better than the time before. You want to look at it not as a task, but as an opportunity of improvement. There's an opportunity I can improve during this session. I can get better with this rep. I can get better with that push-up. I can get better tomorrow. Man, I'll tell you, I can't wait for Mondays. People, the song, I don't like Mondays. I love Mondays. You know why? I got a whole new week ahead of me. New stuff, new challenges, new opportunities. It's awesome. Like, I can't wait for my workout tonight. I did a bunch of push-ups and workout this morning. I got my heavy workout tonight with one of my clients. I'm excited. We're texting. He's a big-time lawyer. He looks forward to Tuesday nights. Tuesday is the day that we banging out heavy. And we're texting about it in the morning, first thing, because we're excited about it. It's how you frame it. You have to remove that dread factor, because if you dread working out, are you going to do it? No, you're going to find excuses. So you have to find something that you really like. And look, it could be the stuff I do. Great. I love kettlebells, body weight, hitting a heavy bag, doing jujitsu. I love all that stuff. It's not for everyone. But is it Zumba? I don't know. Yoga? Pilates? Whatever it is, do it. Find something that you really like to do. And look, some people are more motivated by classes. Some people like to do it alone. Some people like to have a training partner. You know, it depends. It depends. And you have to find what works for you. Because another thing I abide by is every body is different and every body is different. So everyone is different. And every person's body responds differently. So you have to find something that works for you. Look at it as an opportunity to get better at whatever you're doing and make it fun. Remove that dread factor. And if that includes, joining a fitness group where you can have camaraderie, you want to do it by yourself and have your solitude. Like personally, I mostly like training by myself. Although my son was in this weekend, and we went for a run in the woods, and we did kettlebells and all that kind of stuff. So it was a lot of fun. But primarily, I'm solitary when I work out. But that works for me. But do I like working out with a partner? Yeah, sure, I do that too.
Very cool. So figure out what works for you, what blend of the activities themselves plus the style. And if you say, well, it doesn't work for me, well, that's more excuses, right? You haven't tried enough of the activities, if it's jogging or if it's Zumba or if it's weights, like figure out what that is. And in the quest to have fun, you say to reframe and gamify. And so speaking of the systems and the games, I know that you have these innovations like the body bell method and so on. So in these final few minutes of our conversation, can you just tell us about like your programs and what's new
Sure.
and what maybe stands out from the rest?
Absolutely. A couple things we're working on right now. One is the body bell method, and we're actively developing instructors. And the cool thing about the body bell method is not only is it recognized by all the major personal training organizations, but as far as I know, it's the only one out there that is recognized and approved for continuing education credits for chiropractors and physical therapists. So doctors of PT and chiropractors can get credits from taking my course. As a matter of fact, the one that I'm doing this weekend will be at ICE, not the one you're thinking about. Institution. It's the Institute of Continuing Education, and they're in Fairfield, New Jersey. So there'll be a lot of chiropractors and DPTs there. So that's the body bell method. We're developing instructors. It's very involved. People want to get involved in it. Just let me know. The other one is the Get Off Your Back program. This one is I'm also training people on the education aspect of this, but this is more of like an end user situation where the people they get the bar. I got a bar, a back better bar, and it's collapsible. It's carbon graphite, and you can take it on a plane with you. It's TSA approved. You walk right through the security. It comes with over 50 videos, comes with a special band, an anchor band that doesn't stick to your skin or anything. It slides. It's cloth based. It's awesome. And then you get the Strength is a Daily Decision book to work on your mind. And you also get the Exercise Snacks book to give you 55 workouts that you can do, in a 6x6 area with little to no equipment. And it also gets rid of that, objection to, oh gosh, I don't have the time to work out. Well, here you have all the workouts here, and we teach you how to do them as well.
Very nice. Well, what I get from all this is how important it is to have an education, right? It's like if you're not educated about your finances, then it's no mystery why the money's a disaster. Not educated about job skills and you can't work that right. And it's like, well, figuring out this fitness problem is no different, right? You need to know the exercises, the video, the equipment, and that mental game, right? The how to stay motivated and how to fix the problem, whether it's your back or your shoulder, and to have these written fitness goals so that way you can override the kind of short-term dopamine seeking, the potato chips, the Netflix, and say, hey, will I get the temporary fix doing the shortcuts? Well, sure, but what about kind of feeling better long-term and fixing up my body and being stronger and healthier? That's more what we want. And so you and I have been jumping around with all these different various like factors and ideas, right? There's the exercise, there's the mindset, and I know like you have all kinds of crazy speaking opportunities coming up, and there's not enough hours in the day for us to talk about just how you find the time and the energy to do all this. But in these final few minutes of our conversation, do you think there might be a missing question about all this that I should be asking you? I just don't know to ask you.
Well, one thing is that people don't realize how important the rhomboids are. Do most people even know what they are?
I don't.
Exactly. The rhomboids are located in the upper portion of your back, and they help bring your shoulders back and down. Okay. So what we want to do is activate those. If you activate the rhomboids, it's going to help prevent kyphosis, which is that hunched over, help you with the tech neck, and also translates all the way down to the lumbar spine. So by knowing where those rhomboids are, you're going to really help your posture and your general health.
Very good. Well, you've given us a lot of ideas, good starting points, but on a podcast, you only get so much, right? You get the superficial ideas and knowledge, and then you say, well, we want to dive in more and find out about the Get Off Your Back program, Strength, the Daily Decision book, Exercise Snacks, and so much more. And so to take those next steps, there's philross.com. That's the next logical course of action, correct?
Absolutely. Go to philross.com and you can get me. And also you have all my social media links on philross.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, so forth, so on. I'm easy to get in touch with. I'm easy to find. And, we look forward to seeing people from the audience.
Very nice. And so that's philross.com, philross.com. He has an amazing podcast called Master Phil in Your Corner, and an even cooler YouTube video where some of these workouts he talks about, like holding the kettlebell way up. I mean, there's just, you'll be amazed at these videos that you find, but you get there from the hub at philross.com. He's a motivational speaker. He's a fitness enthusiast. He's all about self-defense, body bell method, elevating your fitness, and so much more. He's got all kinds of books, including Managing Back Pain for Dummies. That's sure as heck a bucket list life achievement, being a For Dummies book. And so you want to take your health seriously, or you're maybe you've heard about these kind of surgery or pills alternatives, and you say, hey, maybe there's a less scary solution that I could do before or in addition to, then really consider the strength training and exercise aspect of things. And it might change your whole lifestyle, right? If you've always struggled with your weight, or you haven't been feeling good or low energy, then get some of that movement started and you'll feel better long-term as a result. So that's philross.com. But before I let you go, Mr. Phil, I know that you like to think on your feet. You're active. You're a motivational speaker. I like to try to stump my podcast guests a little bit by asking them about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served them. So what comes to mind for you as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
Well, this is super interesting. Did you know that if you work out, you eat right and work out, you are 400 times less likely to develop a variety of life-threatening illnesses, cancers, Yeah, it's crazy. It's an incredible statistic, something I came across recently. 400 times more likely. Just take care of yourself. Get some exercise. Have a proper mental outlook. Eat right. You have a 400 time, opportunity to avoid all these, life-threatening illnesses.
That's huge. So all the more reason to take the prevention seriously, right? It is
Yes.
boring and it is predictable, but we need to make these things a habit, because who wants to be later in life and say, I wish I just had put in a few minutes a day before it was a huge problem. Well, guess what? You can time travel. Now is the time. Pretend that your future self is looking back on your present self and put in these few minutes for these fitness success habits, and you can begin by getting yourself educated about kettlebells and so much more at philross.com, philross.com. You can read, you can get some books, check out podcast videos. It's all there, philross.com. And thank you, Mr. Phil and Master Phil, for showing up again, inspiring us, educating us. I'm so glad that you made the time with your busy schedule. So thanks for being here.
Oh, love being here. And I will leave with one other thought. Remember that shoulda, woulda, coulda don't add up to one little word, did. And now it's your time to do it. Strength and honor.
Man, what a